So this is what's happening today. So Trump had tweeted this out. I don't know. I'll read this for you if you can't see it. It says the big protest rally in Washington, D.C. will take place at 11 a.m. on January 6th. Location and details to follow. Stop the steal. So that was at January 1st at 2:52 p.m. And it was deleted after 29 minutes. So Twitter has been taking down the president's tweets. But this is what happened. So he called for this, and then this happened. So they showed up. Capitol on lockdown as Trump supporters breached the barricades. They breached the barricades, did they?
Yes. Yes.
By the way, look, could you ever see so many Antifa and Black Lives Matter protesters? So it's funny. It's like, so it was the Black Lives Matter and Antifa all summer, and now it's the Trumpers who went right to the Capitol with guns. Let's watch. As the U.S. Capitol throngs of protesters pushed past police who were trying to block them from entering the building as senators inside debated the certification of the presidential election. Some were able to breach security to successfully enter the building. So this is about that Trump has been saying that the election has been stolen, and a lot of his followers believe it. And so that's what this is about. They're coming to get justice. And so here's some more. We're going to show you what's been going on. So these are cops now beating on Trumpers. So remember all those Trumpers who were saying how violent Black Lives Matters were and why don't you just respect the cops, and what are the cops supposed to do? Of course. All right. And of course, now here they are.
This is American blood! Fucking American blood! Pull them this way! Pull them!
It's getting pretty violent out there.
How you doing, pepper spray? Fucking pepper, pussy! Fucking pussy!
Here they are breaking into the Capitol. So you see what's going on. And people are calling on Trump to cancel this thing like it's some kind of a television show. Updates. Capitol breached by protesters. Woman shot inside. This comes as the Senate met about the election. A woman on the floor of the U.S. Capitol shot in the neck trying to breach a barred door, limp, gargling blood. It's like there's an anvil on my chest. Every horrific split second of Sarajevo in April 1992 is flashing through my mind. This is an extraordinarily dangerous moment. You want to see how the cops were actually reacting inside the Capitol? So that was just some of the cops reacting to some of the protesters. But here's the crazy stuff. You want to see it?
Who's my man? ACAF.
So they're inside the Capitol. They're protesting, and the cops are doing nothing. But they just—I don't know if you saw, that guy was taking a selfie with them.
Who's my man? ACAF.
What? Now, of course, so, I don't even know what to say about that. Here's the police opening the gates and letting the protesters in. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
The cops let him in. The cops let him in. The cops are in here taking selfies with him. Doing nothing.
ACAF.
What does ACAF mean? I wonder what that means. I'm sure it's obvious and I'm missing it, but I don't know why. I understand why none of the cops are doing anything. Why aren't they cracking people's heads open? Why aren't they pepper spraying them? Why aren't they kicking them, putting their boots on their necks? Why aren't they smacking their heads against their... I mean, that's what they did all summer. We saw it. You want to see it? You want to see what they did all summer? Here's the difference between how they were handling most of the protesters at the Capitol today. So on the left is Black Lives Matter protesters from the summer, and on the right is Trump protesters. The cop is bringing her down the step. And then here's what they were doing. It's quite a juxtaposition. That's quite a juxtaposition. But anyway, so they are. It seems like these protesters are getting at certain times a lot deferential treatment by the cops. Sometimes not. Sometimes, as you saw, the cops were punching them in the head and pepper spraying the hell out of them. But you want to see that. By the way, you want to see a cop walking a female protester who's obviously in fragile health. You want to see that hers down the step. That's what you want to see. But what we saw this summer wasn't that. What we saw this summer was if that was they would just push her right over and crack her head open, and then every member of the Buffalo Police would resign because they got So updates, Capitol. So there they are, letting them in.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Now, what that appears now, we don't know what that is for sure. We haven't talked to the cops who did this, why they let those people in, what that was about. But it certainly appears weird that they would let them in like that. But they did. The biggest police union in the U.S. just endorsed Donald Trump for president. Oh. And so Donald Trump called for this. And it just, you know how I feel about cops. I grew up with cops. My grandpa was a cop. My dad was a cop. My oldest brother was a cop. My best friends in Chicago were a cop. Half my neighborhood were cops in the south side of Chicago. The other half were criminals. And, cops are not out of control. If you're a genuinely good person and you care about people and you're not violent or a maniac and you won't cover for other criminals, they weed you out. So the police forces are mostly made up of those kind. They're made up of fucking people who are a half turn of a screw away from being maniac criminals themselves, or they'll cover for people who are maniac criminals themselves, which makes them a maniac criminal. And it's a culture of policing where they put their life before yours. So we've talked all about that. It's the culture. And, the culture changes people, right? And if you're close to that, anyway, it's a culture. And so there you go. The police union in the U.S. just endorsed Trump. That's who the cops are. Cops are, come on. The police unions say they have no regrets in endorsing President Trump. Hey, where are the bullets and tear gas now? Where are the National Guard? Are these people not directly attacking cops? Are you going to tell me that? White privilege. White MFing privilege. That's for sure. I have authorized the federal government to arrest anyone who vandalizes or destroys any monument, statue, or other such federal property in the U.S. with up to 10 years in prison, per the Veterans Memorial Preservation Act and such other laws that may be pertinent. Oh. That was in June 23rd. Mm-hmm. Look, a protester sits inside Nancy Speaker Pelosi's office. We will not back down is scrawled on a folder. That guy probably get more done for the people than Nancy Pelosi did. I'd like to see what that guy would do. I would let him be speaker for a while. If it was a peaceful protest, the cops would have been there. They would have had the National Guard. They would have.
Well, how many did they have out around Force the Vote?
That's right. Oh, so there was a Force the Vote protest. There was 40 protesters. They had 50 cops. So, all right. So here's Senator Mike Crapo says, the violence we are seeing at the Capitol is wholly unacceptable. It must be stopped immediately and all perpetrators prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. God bless the Capitol Police, National Guard, and other law enforcement on the scene here and at other sites. Yeah, because they're in there taking selfies with them. The events of the U.S. Capitol are un-American and unacceptable. You know what's un-American and unacceptable? For a government to abandon its people in the middle of a deadly pandemic and causing an economic depression. That's what's unacceptable. That's how I feel. I think that's unacceptable. I condemn this violence in every way possible. Good for you. Do you condemn the violence of people not getting health care in the richest country in the world? No, you don't condemn that? I don't think so. $1,200 was already a joke. $600 is just begging for riots. So do you think those people would all be rioting if they had $2,000 in their pocket or if they just got their fifth $2,000 check? Do you think? I don't know. I don't think so. So we've been saying this. I said this in the summer when there were all those protests. Do you think those people would be out there protesting, risking getting COVID if they just got their second $2,000 check? Do you think these people would be doing this if they just got their fifth $2,000 check and they thought the government was actually on their side? I still can't believe we literally got $1,200 for an entire year. An entire year-long shutdown. $1,200. Other countries got $27,000. 12 months with $1,200 to help, rent, car, gas, food, family of 7 a whole year. All we got was $1,200. This doesn't happen in other countries. Just so you know, Canada's been getting a direct payment check, UBI, ever since this started. Plus, they have Medicare for all. Same thing in Europe and UK, Japan, Australia. They're all getting direct cash payments that we're not getting. I'm telling you, people, the rest of the free world is stunned at how our government has done almost nothing for the citizens during this pandemic. I have friends in several different countries, and they're all saying the same thing. They cannot believe what they are seeing. So here's some more scenes from inside the Capitol. So I'm guessing the Capitol Police were caught unprepared for this, and whoever runs the Capitol Police should be fired. Are you kidding me? The president himself had been tweeting this out. They weren't ready for this? Or did they want this to happen? That's crazy. We saw the cops taking selfies with them. We saw the other cops open the gates. What is going on? I have no idea. But honestly, I have no idea. I can't wait for the hearing.
Oh.
To see what the chief of the Capitol Police has to say, where he was, what he was doing, what they were thinking. I can't wait.
Well, you know, Jimmy, okay, so the whole, I read that the police scrambled to remove all the personnel from Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, really, you never had a plan of, hey, just in case something happened, we would be able to protect the officials already in the building, plus protect the building. You know, plan?
No plan. Just like the Justice Democrats when it came to forcing the vote, they had no plan. Just when it came to using their leverage, the Justice Democrats, they had no plan. And they still don't have a plan. They're going to wait for me to come up with another plan. They're going to wait for me or Kyle Kalinske or Crystal Ball or Cornel West to come up with a plan for the Justice Democrats on how to use their leverage. And then they're not going to do it again. Here's a scary moment when protesters initially got into the building from the first floor and made their way outside the Senate chamber. So they have one cop there. What? They just spent $742 billion on military. They have one cop protecting the Senate chamber. One cop. And here's something you're not going to hear me say often. I feel for that cop.
I do too. I've watched this.
I feel for that cop. He should not be put in this position. Are you kidding?
Where's his backup?
Nowhere.
Second floor.
So if they were on the street somewhere, they would just pull out their gun and start shooting them, right? Because they say, I fear for my life. That's what they would do. They would go there, I'd fear for my life, so I started shooting people. But he knows he doesn't have as many bullets as there are people. I don't even know if he has a gun. I don't even know if the Capitol Police have a gun. So, but I honestly, you could see this guy. How could the Capitol Police leave one guy hanging out like this? This is crazy. That this guy gets, that's crazy.
It is. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Finally.
But it's but you can kind of tell that this guy's not threatening him physically, and they're not really threatening him physically. At this point, I think you can tell. I'm sure he's still scared for his life. But you could kind of tell, hey, we just want to take over this Capitol. And they sit there and they argue with them. Isn't that amazing? They're not trained. Those cops don't have a clue of what to do. And they do have guns. I saw at least one of them had a gun.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how much training of de-escalation of mobs that they've been forced to take.
I don't know.
I'm going to say zero.
Zero. I'm going to say zero.
Yeah, I'd also like to know how many times they prepared to protect the Capitol. I'm going to say zero. And didn't we read that it was 1820 was the last time that the Capitol had been invaded?
1812, I think. Remember how during the Black Lives Matter protests, everybody was subject to being chased down and beaten, including non-black supporters, allies, friends, and family? People were blinded, maimed by raging rogue police. This makes my blood boil. White and a penis makes you invincible, apparently. So there they are. There's a guy there. They got the Trump flag. Wow. That's Gerald Ford. They put a MAGA hat on him. They put a Trump flag in his hand. And the guy, wow. Yeah, I do remember how during the summer protests, everybody was subject to being chased down and beat. It seemed like they were still beating people outside the Capitol, but once they got in, it seemed like they were all nice to them. That's weird.
It is.
It seems like the cops were beating people outside, but then once they got inside, things changed. Maybe there weren't enough cops. I don't know what happened. Donald J. Trump, you see this? 2 tweets they deleted. This tweet is no longer available because Twitter has been taking his stuff down. And here's what Twitter said. This means that the account of real Donald Trump will be locked for 12 hours following the removal of these tweets. If the tweets are not removed, the account will remain locked. Future violations of the Twitter rules, including our civic integrity or violent threats policies, will result in permanent suspension of the real Donald Trump account. As a result of unprecedented and ongoing violent situation in Washington, D.C., we have required the removal of the President of the United States tweets that were posted earlier today for repeated and severe violations of our civic integrity policy. I don't know what to tell you, but that is a little chilling. I don't care what he's tweeting. Wow, that is. So what? So they just get to decide when we get to hear from our president. That's Twitter. Isn't that weird?
It is.
You talk about it should be a public utility, huh? So here's one of the tweets they took down. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth. So as far as I can tell, that was one of those tweets they made him take down. And here's another one. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously, viciously ripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. So I think that's what they took down, those two tweets. I looked it up at where they delete tweets at ProPublica, and I'm pretty sure that's what the two that they took down. Here's what Glenn Greenwald has to say about it. How have hundreds of billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars been spent in the name of security since 9/11, along with the deployment of drones and surveillance tech? Yet a few hundred protesters can so easily breach the Capitol, just waltzing in and taking it over. What happened? I mean, remember they had fences up for the Black Lives Matter protest this summer. They put a whole fence around the White House. I mean, there was nobody getting in there. I mean, it's crazy. Glenn's right. Breaking news, Juan Guaido has declared himself leader of the U.S. NBC News, Twitter says 3 tweets today from President Trump have been removed and his account will be locked for 12 hours following the removal of these tweets. If the tweets are not removed, the account will remain locked. Future violations of the Twitter rules, including our civic integrity or violent threats policies, will result in permanent suspension of the president's account. So that's what's happening at the Capitol today. And why did those cops how did they get in there? Is it because they have guns? Is it because they're white and they have guns? How did they get in there? Is it because they're white and they have guns? I'm serious. Why did the cops let them in? Why are the cops taking side? That's crazy. So it's like some of the cops are still cracking their heads outside, but it seems like once they got inside, cops are all chummy. And those other cops just open the gates, let them come in. So is this a sign of the cops are on the side of Donald Trump? Some of them? Well, they certainly endorsed him. They certainly endorsed his ass hard. So there you go. So that's what's happening. And folks, it's a very precarious situation, but it just reminds me that we couldn't even get the left to endorse, the entire left to endorse a political strategy that was obvious, a nonviolent political strategy to help bring people health care. These people will literally pick up guns and go take over the Capitol over something made up. How do we get that kind of fire in the belly into the people who are fighting for health care? How do we do that? Because as soon as you come up with a great idea to give people health care, half the left goes, don't be mean. Be nicer. I don't know. It makes maybe this isn't the time. Why? Because I like the Justice Democrats, and they're just as shitty as the regular Democrats, and this will reveal it. So now's not the time. When is the time? There's never going to be a time, Jimmy. But just keep saying now's not the time so we don't have to focus on how horrible the Justice Democrats are. Because they're horrible. This idea that they're our allies, they're not our allies. They're our public fucking servants, and they've been letting us down. So stop being fanboys to the squad and the Justice Democrats and start being a pissed off constituent who is demanding something from them. Everybody sees what's happening. Everybody sees what's happening. Everybody sees people like Cenk Uygur running interference for politicians, which is what he's doing to keep his access to the squad and to get his donor money coming in. That's why he smears Julian Assange. That's why he moved to the center. That's why he was against hashtag force the vote. We can't even get people for the Young Turks were on board for this when it first started, and then they just stopped because they got a call from their donor. We can't even get the left on board to get upset about Medicare for all. They fight us against a strategy that's been universally endorsed. That's what half the left did. And I hope you never forgive them for it, because I'm never going to forgive them for it. I hope you never forgive them for it. And I hope you always remember the pretend leftists. People say, oh, hashtag force the vote divided the left. Hashtag force the vote did not divide the left. Hashtag force the vote revealed the divide in the left. There's a huge divide. There are people who are fighters who want to actually fight the oligarchs and the establishment. And there's people who are posers like Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks, because when the time came to fight, he said no. Kyle Kalinske, you go fight. Crystal Ball, you go fight. Jimmy Dore, you go fight. Bree Joy, you go fight. Cornel West, you go fight. Marianne Williamson, you go fight. Katie Halper, you go fight. That's what Cenk Uygur said. I'm not fighting. In fact, I'm going to fucking try to tear you down right now. And that's what the Young Turks did. And everybody sees it. And there's other people out there that did it too. So don't forget who did it. They're easy to see. They're very loud. And they're all losing subscribers right now. So don't let them off the hook. And don't let the Justice Democrats off the hook. The Justice Democrats have sold you out twice now. The CARES Act and now on this. Half of them sold you out on the Patriot Act. And all of them sold you out on voting for Nancy Pelosi the first time. So you have to have a mechanism to hold our politicians accountable. Just because they give lip service to the policies that we embrace doesn't mean they're our ally. That doesn't mean they're our ally when they fight for the policies that they give lip service to. That's when they're our ally, and not until. So stop treating the squad and the Justice Democrats like they're a celebrity and you're their fan or you're their protector. And start pressuring them, because those people, the squad, AOC, Ro Khanna, they're all feeling extreme pressure from the corporations, from the donors, from the establishment, from the party, from the institute. They're feeling amazing pressure to move right. And if we don't push them left, they're going to move right like they just did. Pressure. You don't bring them chocolates or tell them how to, don't worry, you can go fuck up and I'll make an excuse for you. You have to make them afraid that when they fuck up, you are going to rake them over the coals. That's how politics works. That's how politics works. And everybody knows it. AOC knew it on December 2nd when she tweeted out, we got to stop using polite language and we got to start making people uncomfortable. Everybody knows this. Anybody who's making excuses for the squad is doing just that, making excuses for the squad. And it's clear. Everybody sees it. I really don't even know why I'm bothering explaining this right now. Because it is manifest, transparently manifest. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.